Good afternoon and welcome to City Journal News. I'm Alicia Barker.
And I'm Brendan Wrigley.
Here are today's top stories.
Today the Coalition confirmed it would increase the number of permanent places offered to Syrian asylum seekers as the migration fallout in Europe continues. Prime Minister Tony Abbott announced 12,000 places would be made available on top of the current refugee intake, bringing the total number over the next 12 months to almost 26,000. The announcement comes in the wake of the PM's decision to increase airstrikes against the Islamic State, stepping up Australia's involvement in the war, as well as an increase in monetary aid to refugee camps in the Middle East. Mr Abbott said it was in the national interest and to increase the campaign and self-defence under the UN Charter as justification. Green Senator Sarah Hanson-Young said the increased intake was a win for the community and a compassionate nation, but condemned the increased airstrikes. Today's announcement follows Germany yesterday saying it could accept 500,000 asylum seekers per year for several years and expects a record 800,000 to arrive this year alone.
RMIT has suspended all operations at its Point Cook Air Base following the death of a student pilot. Emily Umstead reports.
Yesterday, before running into trouble and crashing in Millbrook at 3:20 p.m. RMIT University Vice-Chancellor Martin Bean released a statement saying, "On behalf of the university, I want to extend my heartfelt condolences to the student's family, loved ones and friends. As a father, I can only begin to imagine the pain they are feeling at this time." Emergency services arrived quickly on scene, but the woman could not be saved, and police say she died at the scene. The body is yet to be formally identified, and RMIT is assisting investigators with their inquiries. RMIT has declined to comment, but it has offered counselling to staff and students affected by this tragedy. Emily Umstead, City Journal News.
While tomorrow people around the nation will ask, "Are you okay?" RMIT has opted not to participate in the National Day aimed at suicide prevention. Rosie Burke has more.
It's a question that could change someone's life. Are you okay? The national campaign, held annually, is devoted to changing the power of a conversation and checking in with those who may be struggling.
We're all going to go through difficult times. It could be heartache, grief, loss, and that simple question and listening and not judging can make a massive difference to what someone is going through.
Tomorrow is the first time in 4 years that RMIT will not take part in sharing the message.
I don't know why they would stop it. I just feel like it's something that is important.
Director of Student Services at RMIT, Fiona Ellis, was unable to comment, but indicated the importance of students' wellbeing during exam time, shifting the focus on mental health to later in the semester calendar. Instead, the university will hold a mental health week taking place in early October. The week will coincide with World Mental Health Day, aiming to provide students with adequate counselling and support.
It's a massive shame that it's not being acknowledged because it's not hard to go out of your way and ask someone if they're okay.
Rosie Burke, City Journal News.
Planning experts have had mixed responses to new apartment density regulations for Melbourne CBD. The laws will reduce the height of new towers built in the city, but we may also see a reduction in inner-city apartment prices. Mahalia Dobson explains.
The Andrews government has come under fire this week for its changes to Melbourne's city landscape. The new laws, announced by Planning Minister Richard Wine last week, will reduce the height of Melbourne's future towers, but some experts are predicting it won't stop rising vacancy rates with a limited prospect of capital gain. Senior lecturer at RMIT University, Dr Joe Hurley, however, does not believe it is the job of the planning system to solve supply or oversupply issues.
And these planning regulations won't directly impact on people's belief that there might be an oversupply.
These plans come after building applications soared to new highs under former Planning Minister Matthew Guy. Property industry experts have warned of an oversupply, with many predicting that by as early as 2018, investors could struggle to get a sufficient number of tenants.
Dr Hurley is sceptical about the rumours that some developers might be left out of pocket.
You'd need to evaluate each site on its merits based on what it's sold for and the expected dwelling yields they can get under the planning regulation. and the price that they can get for that on the market.
For the most part, Dr. Hurley supports the new regulations.
Look, I think it's very much a step in the right direction. The pros are that they begin to ensure better public realm outcomes, better outcomes for the whole of the city.
Mahalia Dobson, City Journal News.
Melbourne is facing its worst year of the flu in 2 decades following an extended season of the sniffles. The Department of Health has reported more than 7,600 laboratory cases of influenza in Victoria alone. However, experts at the influenza specialist group warn the number is misleading, saying they only account for 2 to 4% of all cases. And with the flu still floating through Melbourne, municipalities can expect worse to come.
And now to world news. A British Airways plane has caught fire at a Las Vegas airport, forcing more than 150 passengers and 13 crew to be evacuated. The Boeing 777 caught fire on the tarmac at the McCarran International Airport while attempting to take off at 4:22 p.m. local time. The Federal Aviation Administration confirmed the aircraft experienced an engine failure. 2 people are being treated for minor injuries.
A landmark nuclear deal between the US and Iran looks set to go ahead as Democratic senators promise to back the controversial agreement. Our US political correspondent Finbar O'Malley reports.
The deal, which has been years in the making, is likely to receive congressional approval despite an anti-Iran Republican majority. Due to an unconventional voting system on nuclear issues, senators will vote to disapprove rather than approve the deal. In this circumstance, a majority, which the Republicans hold, is not required. Rather, Democrats only need to have the numbers to stop a majority. 4 Democrats added their support to the deal on Tuesday, denying the Republicans the 2/3 majority needed to block the deal. If Congress passes the disapproval, President Barack Obama would be forced to veto the move, allowing Republicans to use their majority vote to rescind the veto. Finbar O'Malley, City Journal News.
A Hungarian camera woman has been fired after footage of her deliberately kicking and tripping refugees fleeing police went viral. The footage shows Petra Laszlo of Hungary's N1 TV tripping a man holding a child and kicking another child on 2 separate occasions as they ran from police in southern Hungary. In a statement on the station's Facebook page, N1 TV editor-in-chief Szabolcs Kisberg said Laszlo's actions were unacceptable and that her contract had been terminated.
The Kentucky clerk who refused to sign marriage licenses to same-sex couples has been released from jail. After 6 days in incarceration, Kim Davis was greeted by Republican presidential hopeful Mike Huckabee, as well as crowds of supporters, after her charge of contempt of court was dropped. While the court said Ms Davis must agree not to interfere with the future marriages of same-sex couples, her lawyer has said she will not violate her conscience. The US Supreme Court ruled same-sex marriage was legal across America in June this year.
And to sports news now, Football Federation Australia has condemned the Matildas' decision to stage an industrial action over a pay dispute. As part of the action, a training session in Sydney was cancelled, throwing the Matildas' upcoming tour of the US into jeopardy. The spokesman for the Professional Footballers Association said the FFA had failed to recognise the significant sacrifices the Matildas' team members are forced to make in playing for their country. In a written statement provided to the City Journal, the FFA said they were disappointed by the decision to stage industrial action and said the current offer would double the Matildas' pay over 4 years.
Australian wicketkeeper Brad Haddin today announced his retirement from international and first-class cricket. Speaking to the press at the SCG today, Haddin said he'd made the decision to leave after the Lord's Ashes Test in England, where he returned to Australia to look after his ill daughter Mia. Haddin's career comes to an end after 66 tests, 270 dismissals and over 3,000 runs. He joins Shane Watson, Michael Clarke and Chris Rogers in retiring from international cricket after the recent Ashes loss.
Serena Williams has won a hard-fought match against her sister Venus in the quarterfinals to keep her US Open hopes alive. After Serena took the first set 6-2, the tables turned and Venus struck back, cruising through the second set 6-1 to level at 1-all. But another momentum shift and the number 1 seed proved too strong, prevailing 6-3 in the third to progress to the final 4. Should Serena take the trophy at Flushing Meadows, she will become just the 4th woman to complete a calendar Grand Slam.
And now to the weather. After a few light showers and a top of 14 today, we're heading for a maximum of 16 tomorrow, with possible morning rain. But the weekend is giving us something to look forward to, with a sunny forecast of 21 on Saturday and 22 on Sunday. But the spring weather won't last long, with a cold snap to bring rain and possible thunderstorms on Monday. This has been City Journal News. I'm Brendan Wrigley.
And I'm Alicia Barker. Thanks for watching.
Oh, wasn't that all?
Yeah, a little bit.